So,
and as you can see, at one time it would have the wooden the barrier and the wooden palisade around it, a wooden fence.
bear in mind I'm trying to sound.
That was our palace.
Would you like to share from here? Because walking into the wind is kind of...
Okay, so we're now at Telltown, which is where TEPHI and her husband lived and raised their 4 children. This rath here or ring fort, as it would be, would have had a wooden fence, palisade around it. You can see it's an enormous, compared to other earthworks. This is an enormous place because it was a palace, and royalty. And from here, this is where they lived. They ruled from TORAH, but they actually lived and raised their children here in Telltown. And when TEPHI died on August the 1st in 534 BC, she asked them to hold the Telltown Games in commemoration of her death and to remember her and remember the Torah that she brought to Ireland and which brought peace and prosperity to Ireland, which before them was warring with all the warlords and was in terrible, the life of the people was terrible. So they all loved her because peace came with her, peace and prosperity. There were no more wars, everybody had their fair share, and they had justice. And so she didn't want them to forget that it was the Torah, not just her, it was the Torah that brought the peace and prosperity to Ireland. So the Telltown Games was to be every year on the anniversary of her death to remind the people that they must keep the Torah. And of course they haven't. Just as everywhere in the world they haven't. And even in Israel they don't, because they have the Talmud instead of the Torah. So the sun is now coming out. We may be able to pick out KNT if you've got a strong enough zoom on your camera.
Yeah.
If we go as far this way as we can to the edge, that should give us a better vantage point.
So that's where we've just driven from, isn't it?
Yeah, up there,
yeah. And then to the left of that, is that where the...
you see where the mist is kind of, the cloud is kind of over them?
Yeah.
I think that's, and I think that's KNT. It's either there or it's hidden by that tree. But it's probably there. With the zoom, you may even, if you've got a strong enough zoom, although it's not really clear day, you may be able to see the little pimple on top of the hill, which is the cairn. So Jeremiah, from up there, after his death, symbolically was looking down here through that passage that's lined up with here, so that he was symbolically still keeping an eye over TEPHI and making sure she was okay. As you can see at this side, it's quite high.
So how young or old was Jeremiah when he did die?
We don't know. It's not in old. I mean, he only lived for another 2 years after he got here. He died in 581. They arrived in 583, so he had 2 years to do what needed to be done, to teach, to make sure that the school of the Olam was built, made sure that they all understood the Torah and studied it and kept it. And then his job was done.
He was young, wasn't he, in Josiah's reign?
Sorry?
He was born in Josiah's reign. When Josiah was king.
Young Josiah, where they found the book. Yeah,
Jeremiah was young when Josiah was king.
Yeah. Yeah, well, Josiah, they found the Torah, they found the books of the law, and he had all of the so-called priests executed and reinstated the law, because that had been their duty and they hadn't done it. They'd led the people astray to idolatry, so he had them all executed, which is what the law says. So but you can see this side of it, I mean, it's been built up, you can see this, how high they built it up, and then it would have, this barrier around the edge would have been higher still. That's falling away, as you can see.
What's the reaction?
Is it Jerusalem this way?
Yes.
Correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Taking it in.
Yeah.
They know it's Torah.
I don't know if you want to walk around to get a feel of the size.
Whoops. Amazing day to be able to have heard what you've shared, and for other people to check the information off your site and other sites probably. And I want to thank you on behalf of everybody else that has yet not understood this.
Yeah.
And I thank the Lord for further revelation, which is sure to come.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm not sure what I've signed up for here.
Yeah.
But
it's all good.
Yeah.
God is good all the time.
I think when people realise the Israel thing and how that's been a bluster,
They don't want the British people, the monarchy does not want the British people to know who they are, that they are British. Because if they were to read the Torah, and the Bible is their history book, and if they were to read the Torah, the law, and see how fair it is and just for everybody, they would want to know why they are not living under the law that God gave them, and why they are living under all this oppressive legislation that rips them off and makes Elizabeth rich and them poor. And that's why the so-called royalty doesn't want the British people to know who they are. The British so-called royalty know they are descended from the house of David. They know the coronation stone is Jacob's pillar. Right? So they cannot be ashamed of the fact that they are descended from David, and that the coronation stone is Jacob's pillar. So they're hiding it for other reasons. They're hiding it because they want to maintain their wealth and power over the British people. And we come back again to 1 Samuel chapter 8, that every British person should read and reread until it sinks in.
1 Samuel
1 Samuel chapter 8, and know the mistake that they made those thousands of years ago by having a human king instead of God as their king, as was originally the case with Moses. Right, well, they built the King's Highway, and this went from Telltown all the way to Navan Fort, in the north. And it linked the two seats of government and the Allies, basically. So there's a bank on both sides of it. It goes down, and then unfortunately there's a modern road that's cut across it, and they've done that in various places, and then farmers have levelled it, you know, and all of that. So if we could open the gates, we could go at least half a mile on the King's Highway with the banks on both sides, and you could see it as it, you know, obviously it wasn't tarmac then, but you could see it as it, you know, you could picture it in your mind as it would have been, with the trees on either side and all of that. But unfortunately, in the last few years, they've gated it, so you can't actually.
So literally, this starts the King's Highway or connects.
Yeah, to connect Telltown.
Yeah.
With Navan Fort in Armagh in the north of Ireland.
So there was a road straight from one to the other.
Yep.
The highway.
Yep.
Sorry.
Yep, the King's Highway.
So were they, the north and the south, sort of united then?
Yeah, it was all one country, yeah, except that he was Nuad was the King of Ulster of the northern section, and TEPHI and HOWTH were the rulers of the southern section. But they were friends and allies. They fought together against the rebels to keep the Torah. So the
ones in the north kept Torah at that time?
Yeah.
So what's happened since? So that has to be restored.
There's always changing. There's always changes, isn't there?
Yep.
Nothing ever stays the same.
No. So, okay, well, that's about all I can show you of it because of the gate. But you can see the bank continues here, you know, back to the road. You know, they've knocked it down here because they built this modern church. But it went all the way to Telltown.
Would this be like that with the banks like that all the way?
Yeah.
That's something, isn't it?
Sort of a protection around, isn't it?
Well, who knows what's going to happen in the next 100 years?
Yep. Father does.
What do you think will happen in Ireland? Will they just say enough is enough and get round the table? Or will there be, unfortunately, another little war between North and the South?
Well, there's going to be a third world war, so...
That's all going to be part of it, isn't it?